Hello, today's tutorial is on Warrior Pose 3, Virabhadrasana 3. As you can see, this is a standing posture. It is very strengthening. It requires the strength of the glutes and the hamstrings to lift the lifted leg up, and it requires also the strength of the supporting leg in order to root yourself to the ground and be stable and lend that support. Okay, and it requires also the strength of the abs and the spine and of the neck to maintain the integrity of the shape so that you're maintaining the right position with your torso. Okay, and lastly, this pose also requires flexibility, as you can see, as you need to lift the back foot off the ground, and so you would need hamstring flexibility and also the flexibility of the hip flexors in order to be able to lift the back leg up to the desired height. Okay, now let me first start with a demonstration of this pose. We can start in Tadasana. So our feet are hip width apart. So depending on whichever leg you would like to use, it's up to you. But for me, I will start to shift my weight onto my right leg. Okay, so I'll be lifting the left leg off the ground. So the first thing to make sure of is that you are focusing on rooting your leg down to the ground. Stabilize yourself and root yourself to the ground. Okay, and next, the arm position depends for you. The hardest one will be to have your arms overhead. Okay, but you're free to also have your arms by your torso or in prayer at your heart. So we go into this position inhaling. So be strong. Inhale, bring your arms overhead. Unite them in prayer overhead if you like. If not, keep them shoulder width apart. Keep your shoulders down and not flaring up. Okay? And from here, very gently, very slowly, just follow the breath. And as you lift the leg, lower the torso. The goal is to have your leg and the torso in a straight line, okay? And your back foot points down towards the ground. And relax. All right. How did that go? Okay, now the first thing I'm going to talk about is the back foot. As I said, ideally your back foot is pointing straight down to the ground in an internal rotation. But I know sometimes in balance it could be difficult to focus totally, so students might start to externally rotate the hip out, and I understand that is easier to do. And as with many poses that we do in this position, actually, the more externally rotate the back foot, the back leg is, the easier it is to go actually wider. So I understand, but as much as we can, let's just try to have a foot that points down to the ground. And if you're unable to lift further, because then your feet start externally rotating, your hips start to externally rotate, don't worry, just stay at where you're at, okay? So, and also the question about rounding the back or overarching the back, most commonly students will tend to round the back because it is so much more difficult always to open our chest. It's like in everyday life when we work in the office, use our computer, we're always hunched down like that, tie our shoes. So it's so much harder to open our chest, I understand. So what we should do is to try to focus on the right open chest position and the foot that is internally rotated, okay? And then as much as you can maintain the integrity of the shape, just lower to whatever you are at. If you start to lose balance here, just stay here, okay? There is no obligation that you have to go all the way down so low, because the goal is to work at where you're at in order to bring about the result that you're looking for. So if you want to build greater stability, so let's work at where you're at. And if this is where you start to lose your shape, start to rotate out everything, and then your arms It's hard to bring it overhead, and then it starts to be like that. So go even lower to correct everything so that you can keep everything straight. And if for the shoulder mobility is hard, to bring your arm by the ears, okay? Do not worry. You can bring your arms by your torso. This makes it so much easier. First, at the beginning, if you try to first focus on the balance, getting the balance, and then eventually you can think about the arm position when you are ready. Okay, so this, having your hands by the torso, will make it so much easier for you to balance, or even have your hands in prayer at the heart. Okay, so keep the integrity of your shape and start by going down this way. Your torso goes down as your back foot lifts as far as you can go without losing balance, while keeping the foot also rooted to the ground. Okay? So one mistake I would like to talk about is sometimes students might hyperextend the neck or hyperflex the neck. Okay, I understand it can be difficult because there's so much involved in this pose. It's crazy. The position of the back foot, how high it has to be, how low you have to go with the torso. Okay, so sometimes students might go down, okay, you have everything right, but you might start to hyperextend or even hyperflex the neck. So let's try not to strain our neck unnecessarily. Keep the neck position neutral. The neck is in line with your spine, so when you go down, it stays all the same. Okay, and the same, if you notice your arms are in front because of the shoulder mobility, you can have it by your torso. Otherwise, just try your best to see if you can just correct it in your position, okay? Remember, you don't need to come down deep into this pose. You just need to get to where you need to be, okay? So one modification I would like you to try if you need help with balancing is to use the wall, okay? So let me demonstrate this to you with the other side. So if you need to use the wall or even a chair, get a chair so that you can put your hands on the chair, maintain the integrity of the position while you work on getting everything right first, okay? And eventually, when you feel ready, you can start to move away from the wall. So let me show you. So try to adjust yourself against the wall and see how much space you need if you need the wall to balance, okay? So if you need the wall to help you, just start with this at the beginning and come back up very slowly and eventually build up from there. Another option, instead of putting your hands on the wall, you can try to put your foot also on the wall. As I know, this one takes trial and error as to the distance that you need to be from the wall. So take your time with it. Do not worry too much. If this is where you need to go before your torso starts to round, your back foot starts to externally rotate, then just stay at this height, okay? Okay, and just stay there. And if you would like to add your arms in a question, you can try while keeping the integrity of the shape. So make use of what you have and work at your level. So now I would like to talk about the positioning of the feet. As you know, I believe that there is not one single alignment that works for everyone. I know the classic Warrior 3 pose. The front foot has to point straight to the front. The back foot has to point to the ground. But I know if you wish to experiment with something else, I'm not saying that you cannot. I'm saying that you can try if you wish. Okay? And look at how it can help you. So instead of pointing the front foot to the front, sometimes, if it might help you, try to see if you can even just externally rotate a bit your foot, okay? No harm in trying that. No one's gonna say that you're not doing yoga if you change the alignment slightly. Again, it's only for you if you might feel not that comfortable doing this position. Because I do know some students who have naturally internally rotated hips, so they walk like that, or students with naturally externally rotated hips, so they actually walk like that, so they stand like that as well. Okay, so it all depends up to you. So if your hips are not neutrally and aligned, it could help you to experiment with your foot position to see what actually helps you, because sometimes you might not notice pointing the foot straight to the front, you might feel discomfort, okay? And keeping everything square like that, you might feel discomfort. So at the end of the day, I'm saying, listen to your body. If you need to modify something to feel better in a posture, to eliminate pain in a posture, please do it, because at the end of the day, you're the one who knows your body. And your body will tell you signals of whether you can do something or not. If something feels extremely uncomfortable for you, maybe you have to look at how things can be changed in a very small way to help you do something more comfortably. Okay, so this is the end of this tutorial of Warrior 3. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I look forward to seeing you for the next video. Namaste.